Hello, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the time I took a break from dressage. Now, this was a while back ago, like several months, and at this point, I wouldn't say I was like super elite in dressage, but I had a not great club experience. I'm not going to specify exactly what happened or what club it was, but I just didn't have a very good club experience, and it just kind of gave me a whole different attitude towards star stable dressage. And so I ultimately decided that I would stop doing star stable dressage. At the time, I was like, I'm never going to do dressage again. That was just like my mindset. And so I completely dropped all clubs, and it got kind of boring after that because I didn't have a lot to do in the game. And now my club is like the thing that my game is for. It's like to be in a club. So I got pretty bored on the game when I was online, and it was like, mentally, I think it was better for me because it was stress-free, and I just got time to reflect and think about, the club experience I had. And I ultimately decided to take on realistic roleplay. That was a really bad idea, you guys. When I took on star stable roleplay, I'm not even a roleplay kind of person. I will do roleplays and I'll be into it, but that's very rarely. If I had to do roleplays every day, I would get very upset and frustrated because I am not such an imaginative person when it comes to playing star stable. I cannot. Storylines are not very interesting to me, which is one of the reasons why I don't like doing quests. I have no interest whatsoever in listening to stories or coming up with stories, which is one of the reasons why I dislike doing role plays. Now, I do know that role plays are very challenging, and I completely respect everyone in the star stable RRP community, because that takes a lot of work to create those storylines, and it really requires imagination that I frankly just don't have in the game. But anyway, that's what I decided to do because I wasn't really into racing at the time, and I wasn't at the highest level, so I said I'll do role plays. And after doing a couple role plays, I fell in love with shows the most. If you don't know, in Star Stable, they have a lot of flat shows and jumping shows. And to be honest, I think it was very difficult for me because Star Stable realistic roleplay shows are so much different than dressage competitions in my eyes, or dressage in general. First of all, the tack and the clothing was one of the things that I didn't even know about. When you do Star Stable realistic roleplay shows, you have to have specific tack and specific clothing to get you better points. And I remember the first time I did a Star Stable show, I went in there and they were like, okay, give me your show name. I was like, what's a show name? I didn't even know what a show name was or what it is. And now, I have a pretty good understanding of what a show name is. But back then, I had no idea. And so I would just make random stuff up because that's all I knew. So I just think it's so interesting. And basically, for a month, I would just do Star Stable shows. That's what I did. And I'd say it was a pretty interesting experience because it taught me some things that I never knew about, such as this whole new world that I'd never discovered of realistic roleplay, where people judge you. Like, I never really entered a lot of competitions, especially ones that were managed by players and not the Star Stable system, right? Like, it's not like a championship where Star Stable sets up a whole system for it. It's basically players managing other players, which I guess in that sense it's kind of similar to Star Stable Dressage. But I did that for a month, and I had a lot of fun doing it, but I just got so bored at one point because it was just over and over again, like another show, another thing. And shows, like, once you got the hang of shows, it wasn't very challenging for me. Like, every time it felt like I was going into the same thing where the judge would say something and then I would do that, and I can imagine, like, for some people that's really exciting, and I completely respect people who are interested in that. But for me, I just wasn't very interested in it. So at one point, I fell out of realistic roleplay, and I wanted to do something exciting for me. And I think dressage is one of the things that always excites me. It's always competitive, and it's always exciting because you learn new things every lesson. So I fell back into dressage. It was, to be honest, like, I'd say I'm giving a lot of details for what it really was. Ultimately, I took on realistic roleplay for a month. I didn't like it, and I fell back into dressage. But I just wanted to share this story for anyone who's like, you know, I had like a really bad dressage experience, and now I never want to do Star Stable Dressage again. Like, you can do dressage again, even if you've had a really bad experience with a club or you just didn't like something. Like, don't feel like you have to give it all up. I personally needed like a break from it, and after that break, I felt so good going back into it, and now I'm in one of my favorite clubs. So yeah, I just wanted to share that story to anyone who may be in a similar place or have had a bad club experience. It's happened to me before, and all I can say is that I think I became stronger from that. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this small little story time, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.